When it comes to solids, we're going to create this crankcase by using only about 4 to 5 commands. So all that you have to need is, if we go top view, is your section or a plan, and then on the left hand side a profile that you're going to sweep around the outside. Now on the left hand side, if we go to draw up to Caddie 28, you add your 3D primitives, and now new to Caddie 29 you will find your 3D solids as well as your 3D surfaces. Now the solids and the surfaces depends, maybe you're getting drawings from another CAD system, they support the surfaces. Now Caddie support it as well as when it comes to solids. So we're going to start off with solids, and we're going to make use of the cylinder, we're going to make use of the box, we're going to use a sweep as well as subtract. So let's start with the cylinder. Caddie will ask us specify center point, so I'm just going to open it slightly, and I'm going to start in the middle. Then Caddie will ask us specify the radius is going to be 5, press enter, and now freehand I can either pull it up or I can give it a height. Now for this exercise I'm just going to make them let's say 100, and I press enter. Then I can select that cylinder, I can create new cylinders, but I'm going to copy it. So I'm going to say from there, from the middle, place one over here, place one there, and one over there. So there's my, let's call it the 4 holes, because we're going to subtract the cylinder from the profile itself. We can also create cylinders for the center circles, but what we're going to do is we're going to extrude these circles. So I'm going to go to draw, we go to 3D solids, and now we're going to make use of extrude. Caddie will ask us indicate close to the curved region or M-text. So I'm going to click on the curve, and as you can see, either in a negative direction or in a positive direction, and I know that the height is going to be around about 90, so I'm just going to make it, let's say 100, and I press enter. Caddie asks us for the next object. Once again, I'm just going to give it the direction, and I'm going to give it the value, the same as with the ports in the middle. Indicate the first one, direction as well as the height, and indicate the one at the back, direction and the height. So those are the objects that we're going to subtract from the profile. Now the profile that you're going to use is here on the left hand side. So we're going to go draw, 3D solids, and we're going to make use of the sweep command. I'm going to click on the command, and Caddie will ask us indicate close to the curve. So I'm going to indicate the profile that I want to use, and then you'll see there's an option in the command line that says B for base point, because I would like to use the snap to the point to the bottom left. So I'm going to say B for base point. I'm going to indicate the point that I want to use as a reference, and then Caddie asks us indicate the curve to sweep path. So I'm going to indicate the outline, and there's my profile. So because I still want to add the box, now the profile is in a way, so I can hide it. Just select the object, right click, lighting and display, and I can ask Caddie hide object. So now we're going to apply a box. So we go to draw, 3D solids, we're going to say box. Caddie will ask us specify first corner, is for snap, first point, last point, indicate the height. Now this one I'm just going to do freehand. As you can see, it's not necessary, you have to give it a value. I'm going to say up to there, I'm going to press escape. Now I'm going to ask Caddie to show all my layers, and all we have to do is now we're going to subtract the objects from each other. So the command is under draw, 3D solids, and we're going to go down to subtract. Caddie will ask us indicate the 3D solid, and that will be the box, and then Caddie asks us indicate the one that I would like to subtract. Then we can hit spacebar or previous command, indicate the first solid, indicate the solid that you want to subtract. Spacebar again. So now it's just the command is now like in a loop. You spacebar, indicate the first solid, indicate the solid that you would like to subtract, and as you can see, you indicate the first solid, indicate the solid that you want to subtract, and it creates the holes. There we go. By using only a few commands, by extract or sweep, you can create a crankcase. Now I'm going to show you how to work with the bolts and the nuts. So here on the right hand side, it's a profile presenting a flange, and the command itself is under draw. We go down to 3D solids, and at the bottom you will find the bolt and the nut. So we're going to click on the bolt command. Now the head types, we supply 3. It's your countersink, your hex, as well as your socket head. On the right hand side is your diameter, it's going to be M10, your length, and then your shank. Do you want it to be full thread or only plain shank? So I'm going to start off with a countersink. I'm going to ask Caddie to give me a full thread when it comes to the shank itself. So I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to indicate the first point. Here we go, there's the first one. So orbit it. So I zoom in, as you can see there's my countersink. Let's apply another 2, the command and the draw, 3D solids. We go down to bolt. This time I'm going to make use of the hex. I'm going to keep everything the same. Let's make it a plain shank. We say OK, and we indicate the second point. And as you can see, here we go. And then the last one, that's going to be a socket head, and we give it a full thread. There we go. So now I can extrude my profile. So if I go to draw, 3D solids, I'm going to say extrude, F for freehand, indicator close to the curve, and then I'm going to give it a height of say 30 millimeters. Press escape, and I can apply transparency to it. So to any object, once it's selected in my object properties, I'm going to ask Caddie to give it a transparency of, let's say, 60%. I'm going to press escape, and here we go. So now we can add nuts to it as well. So first of all, let's move the UCS. Let's put it on top. We can say offset because I know the height is 30. Say OK, and the command we're going to make use of is draw, 3D solids. We go down to nut. Caddie will ask us to indicate nut position. Now if I'm on 2D at the bottom, it means although I'm going to make use of my point snap in the middle, Caddie should place the nut on top, because my UCS is at the Z height of 30 millimeter. So I'm going to press escape, R for regen, and there we go. And now I showed you that when it comes to extract and how to subtract, now you can even what we call under draw 3D solids, you will see that there's an option that says union. Now union means like it's going to unite. Now have a look for me and see what's going to happen with the bolt here at the back. As soon as I'm going to say union, Caddie will ask us indicate 3D solid. That's going to be this flange, and then Caddie asks us indicate 3D solid to combine with selected. So that's going to be my bolt here at the back. So I'm going to press escape. As you can see, now it actually unite. Only the bottom part, it removed it because the top part is now part of my first 3D solid. So you can either subtract or you can add. So let's go to draw 3D solids, and on this one I'm going to ask Caddie to subtract, indicate the solid that I want to make use of, that's the parent, and indicate the one that I want to subtract. That's it. And because it's transparent, as you can see, now what it did is it actually kept the hole inside my first 3D model, because we asked Caddie, take the first 3D model and subtract the second 3D model. And that's where it comes with your bolts and your nuts.